session.
Welcome back to episode 6 of the 9 Degrees podcast, the number one non-educational, education-themed podcast in the world. We may have 9 degrees among the 4 of us, but we still don't know much about anything. We'll try to keep you informed about the most interesting and current events in the world, but make sure you use a fact checker because we definitely don't. And people seem to be very upset about this. We are being straight up right now in the intro. No fact checker. There might be misinformation. Do your own research. As always, I'm your boy Jerome, and we've got Maddox, we've got Jackson, we've got Jared back for another week. Remember, you can catch this audio version of this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts. And if you want to watch the video version, look out for it one day later on youtube.com/Jerome Vaz. Come and join the classroom in Discord. We're chatting in there. Maddox is out here making noise, dropping microphones. It's all good. It's all good. Boys, class is now in session. How is everyone's week? Pretty good?
It's rainy.
Pretty good? It has been rainy here in DC too. I feel like we got to get right into this. I have something real heavy on my heart, and it's about Dave Ramsey. People are very upset in the YouTube comments, again, about Dave Ramsey. Apparently me saying that it's expensive out here is offensive in some way, and I'm dumb, and I should live below my means. Clearly, they don't know what my means are, but whatever.
Can I clarify?
Go ahead.
Is this still, is this building off of already, previous comments, or there's even newer comments that are still going after?
Yeah, there are plenty of comments. First off, round of applause to this team here. We got our first 1,000 view short on YouTube. Wait, I said 1,000. 10,000 view short on YouTube. Lots of people commenting, telling us that we're idiots, telling me that I'm an idiot because I respond. That's my fault. Lots of people saying, if you can't afford school, then don't go to college. And when I lay out the math, they're just like, no, shut up.
Yeah.
Which is fine. One good argument that I saw, and I'm going to take time to apologize for this and legitimately try to do better, is people are saying, okay, sure, maybe Dave Ramsey's out of touch. But Jerome, instead of just sitting around and just complaining, how about you give us some advice? How about you tell us what we should do better? And I think that's really fair. So I want to take a second to apologize. I have written out a list of things that I think you could do in your life to afford things and live a wealthier lifestyle. Step number one, be born to rich parents. I think that's a really good one. If you're too dumb to do step number 1, then here's some more things to do. Live with your parents until you're 40. I think that's a good one. Great way to save money. Number 2, don't get a girlfriend or boyfriend. They're really expensive. Also, while we're talking about it, don't have friends. Don't go to dinners. Don't drink. I think that's great advice. If you don't have money for groceries, make sure you live below your means. Steal. I think that's good advice. You should steal. Got another one. Don't have money for college? Start your own college. Give yourself a degree.
Accepted.
What are people going to say?
Where are the accepted fans out there?
And my number 1 tip for living below your means, make sure you listen. Camera, zoom in on me real quick. Be like me, don't be poor. And that's it. Those are my gripes today. I think people are just upsetting me, and they don't seem to understand that it's hard out here. And like Jared keeps saying, all we're trying to say is that it's hard out here. So stop coming for my throat.
That's it. Yeah, it's like every metric we have says that compensation and cost are not aligning the way that they have in the past. I'm just saying it's a little harder than maybe it should be. That's it. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Apologies.
So piggybacking off of that short, that our biggest short ever, that was produced via misinformation. Look, Jerome and I and us, we had a discussion about tax credits. Oh, wait. Is this the same one? Is the Dave Ramsey one the same?
The Dave Ramsey, it was in the same week. The tax credits did 9,000. Okay. The Dave Ramsey did 10,000.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. I got them confused. Anyway, so talking about a different short. One of our other high-performing shorts. So Jerome made a comment where he said, generally, I think people misunderstand how tax credits work.
Yeah.
Right?
I did in fact say that.
And then immediately after that, he explained how tax deductions work rather
Correct.
than tax credits.
Correct. Correct.
Therefore, thus proving the first part of his statement that people generally do not understand tax credits.
Yeah.
Nice of him to do.
So technically, it was not misinformation. It was.
Ooh, I like this. I like this argument.
He was proving his initial point.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, yeah. And then I also have to say, we got a lot of comments on that one about people attacking us for misinformation and being quick to correct the record, which is fair. But when I was thinking about this, if people genuinely care about the spread of misinformation, they should understand that just because we put, a clip out that was technically inaccurate, they are the ones spreading it around by engaging with it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And, if you genuinely cared about stopping the spread of misinformation, when you see it on your feed, you should absolutely ignore it. You should go search a video on the same topic that has correct information, give it a like, comment on it, tell them how they're providing great information. And that is the way that you could actually promote truthful information in this world, because if no one had engaged with that video, it would have faded into oblivion.
You're right. You're right. But instead, it's our number 2 performing video ever.
Yeah, and then the people caused it to spread like wildfire. So, either one, they just don't understand how, like, the truth, the reality of how social networks work, or they just prioritize spreading negativity and call it, like, they get gratified by calling someone out and making them, feel stupid more than they actually care about misinformation.
I completely agree. And it's like people are so quick to just want to prove that they know more than you on the internet, which, like, what? Who cares? We say every single week in the intro of this podcast how much of idiots we are. And even though we have 9 degrees, don't listen to us. But I've said it before. Quote from Charlemagne the God: "The lie is more entertaining than the truth."
For sure. It's an interesting experiment that we're, like, trying to grow this podcast, and we're, like, actually getting data based on that, because obviously, we probably all intuit that, like, misinformation and controversy does better, or, but it's like we're actually, like, seeing that people much more engaged with our negative content than are just normal.
Absolutely.
What I would say, not in defense, because I'm not going to defend the people who want to just, like, yell at other people on the internet, but what I did like, being somebody who has spread misinformation in the past, what I did like about the comments, kind of to your point, Maddox, is that I do like it when people point out when we're wrong. I do like that. Like, when I was talking about, like, the diode thing, like, I actually liked that people called me out on that, because I would rather learn that lesson and not go forth into the world and be like, hey, did you know? I'd like to be corrected on that. Now, when they go a little too far and they're like, you're the problem, okay, maybe let's just pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, relax.
But
chill out.
I do like the opportunity to be like, oh, okay, I was wrong. That's cool. Let me go on Wikipedia, look this up, have it in the bag for later. So, like, to your point, Maddox, like, I do like the people who want to, like, correct it and be like, no, like, that's not right. Like, this is the right answer. Like, go look on Wikipedia or whatever, because they are kind of correcting against it. But I also I really like what you said. Go find another video, like them, comment on them, spread the right information, because who knows what else we're going to be shuffling around on here.
I agree. I think that it's kind of on par with the theme of why we started doing this. I mean, obviously we're saying this is education themed, but we're not trying to educate people. That's not the point. It's for entertainment. But I think that we all kind of came together as people that like to, like, discuss things, and debate things, and that the point of that is to find truth. So it's like, if we just, Jerome made that comment in just casual conversation. He wasn't going out to educate someone on tax law. And, I'm sure if you were doing like an in-depth video on tax credits, you would have informed yourself before you put that information out there, right?
Right.
Like, this was just a clip of our casual conversation. And to be fair, I know how tax deductions work. I didn't know that tax credits were necessarily different or not, but I was the one that edited that clip too, and I sat there and like went over the text over and over again, and it didn't like catch my attention. So I think the point is, we're not, it's for entertainment.
Just chill out.
And if you're gonna correct the record, you don't have to be attacking people about it.
Right. Number one rule: don't be an asshole.
Yeah. Agreed. Any other gripes for the week before we move into our articles?
I have one more.
Go ahead.
So we've talked a lot about the TikTok dilemma with the government and China in previous weeks. And recently I created a TikTok account. Mm-hmm. And I thought the government trying to ban TikTok for, because of national security threats, from China, I thought it was a little bit nonsensical. And more importantly, I was like, if I want to give my own personal data to China, like, shouldn't that be my decision? But I signed up for a TikTok account, and I did it using my personal email through the Google, sign up with Google. Mm-hmm. And the next day, I get an email. Suspicious login attempt from Beijing, China. Was this you?
Come on. Come on. Coincidence, bruv.
Coincidence. That's how it starts.
It was not me, but nothing else has happened. All my money is still in my bank account. And
coincidence.
So. Cheers to that.
Well, to that note, Maddox, I'm glad that you brought this up, because my first article that I have is on TikTok. Because I think last episode we briefly talked about how the official TikTok ban bill got passed. They have 270 days, I believe, for a TikTok parent company ByteDance to divest, or it will be officially banned in the U.S. My personal opinion: why the hell would they divest? Because what, they divest and another U.S. company owns it and they get zero revenue, or they just ban it in the U.S. and they get the revenue from the other 700 million people in the world that use TikTok. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, this week, TikTok sues the U.S. government. I didn't even know that you could do that. They basically cited that it was a violation of their First Amendment right. And they're saying, I've got some quotes from the article. For the first time in history, Congress has enacted a law that subjects a single named speech platform to a permanent nationwide ban and bars every American from participating in a unique online community with more than 1 billion people. The company argues that invoking national security as a concern is not sufficient for restricting free speech, and that the burden is on the federal government to prove that this restriction is warranted, and so far it has not. Sounds like the chairman of the House Select Committee on the CCP is still very adamant that TikTok poses a grave risk to national security, and it's telling that TikTok would rather spend its time, money, and effort fighting in court than solving the problem by breaking up with the CCP. I'm confident that our legislation will be upheld. I don't know. I just continue to disagree with the U.S. government on this one. I see no reason for TikTok to be banned. And they're completely right in this lawsuit in citing national security and then just saying, oh, we've had conversations behind closed doors, and not providing any sort of proof, even though to date TikTok has continued to do what the U.S. government has told them to, aka Project Texas, moved all of the data, all of American data, to Oracle servers in Texas. There's no proof of anything. And I think it sets a very dangerous precedent into the power of the U.S. government over private corporations. And the last thing they also claim in this lawsuit is that it violates their right to due process under the Fifth Amendment, which I also agree with, because they essentially just signed into it bill a permanent ban, citing national security, and then there was never actually any sort of legal proceedings that happened. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys disagree with me here?
I agree. I feel like banning a piece of software feels very it just doesn't feel right to me, just based on like what our society has placed priorities on.
Totally.
But I mean, yeah, I just feel like they should, the US, if they have legitimate concerns, they should say, and it sounds like this has already happened, but this is what you have to do to address our concerns, and let's move on with it.
Yeah, and I don't understand how, if we're going to ban Chinese companies, Samsung, Korean company, but why not ban Samsung? Xiaomi, Chinese company, why not ban Xiaomi? Like, it is very clearly a targeted attack on a single entity. And there's nothing you or the online community could tell me to convince me otherwise.
Yeah. National security is also a tough one, because you can do basically anything under the guise of national security, right? I mean, like, if it actually is like a national security threat, like, why are you going to tell everybody why it's a national security threat? Like, that exposes you. It's almost like when you're like, if you interrogate somebody, if you ask too many questions, you actually give away things that they didn't know in the first place. So national security is a tough one. I mean, that you bringing up a Chinese company is a good point. Like, if it's going to be, that's the thing. Like, I wish we could just tell truth a little bit in this like whole thing. Like, if we're just gonna get rid of like social media, fine. Like Facebook, X, like all of them, get rid of them. But that's not what we're doing. If we're gonna just ban companies from like one country, fine. I still disagree with that, but like at least it's consistent. So okay, let's go through all of the companies that have a Chinese base or something like that. It feels like everybody is doing everything to not say what they like really mean,
what everyone knows. Yeah.
So I don't know.
They're just scared of the Chinese. And the last quote from this article, it says, outside experts have looked at these claims from the U.S. government with skepticism, noting the lack of data security laws in the U.S. makes TikTok no different from other apps that claim about efforts to manipulate public opinion, which is interesting, because it's like, yeah, if we want change in how our data is handled, yeah, maybe start there. Maybe have some like data security laws that affect all of these platforms.
Yeah, I mean, we lag Europe in that sense. Europe does a lot better job.
That's a great point.
I think we lag Europe. I don't know. I haven't pulled up an article. I think we lag Europe.
But that's a great point. Like the EU like swung its power around so much so that it got Apple to remove the Lightning port, and we now have USB-C. Yeah. So we should be able to do that.
Fair.
But completely banning an entire platform that millions of Americans use is kind of crazy to me. Anyway, I've got another one. This one has a special place in my heart. It's no jokes. It's a little sad. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. So this one's about investment banking. I don't know if you guys saw this news recently, but an investment banking associate at Bank of America recently this past week passed away. From the coroner's office, they're saying that it was likely due to fatigue and extreme amounts of stress from the job. Which, yeah, I truly don't have any words, but I'm going to give you guys kind of the details here. The man's name was Leo Lucanus, I think. I don't actually know how to pronounce his last name, so apologies if I absolutely butchered that. 35 years old, ex-Green Beret in the Special Forces. And then they don't mention an MBA program in the article, but I assume he went and got his MBA, and then he started as an investment banking associate at Bank of America in 2023. Obviously very close to my heart, because I was also an MBA graduate into investment banking, was also an associate very recently. He passed away on May 2nd from acute coronary artery thrombus, a formation of a blood clot inside a blood vessel of the heart, which then leads to things like heart attack. He was a first-year associate, and his death came after he had allegedly been working 100 hours a week for several weeks in a row on a $2 billion merger. People always say this. People say that investment banking hours are not real, and if you're working that much, you're doing something wrong, blah, 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 blah. Having been in this situation, it's not unusual. I've always said that I had a really great experience during my time in investment banking. However, I've been that guy. I have worked 100 to 120 hours in a single week for multiple weeks in a row. I think I've told you guys, I've made a video on it. My last 3 weeks at my old investment bank, maybe it wasn't the last 3, but the last 3 before I told them I was quitting, I worked 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. every single day, 7 days a week for 21 days straight. Comes out to 126 hours a week. And I was working on a $3 billion acquisition. Like, it is an insane type of lifestyle. But so what happened here recently, and this is what I want to get your guys' opinion on. So the junior bankers, analyst associates at Bank of America came together and called for a walkout/protest. And then they also called for specific rules to be put into place about, working conditions and whatnot. This is coming kind of like piggybacking off of 2021. There were 13 Goldman Sachs junior bankers that also compiled like a list about working conditions and asked for a lot of change. And truthfully, like back in that time, like the Goldman Sachs thing, it made headlines and then eventually was kind of sort of swept under the rug. Nothing really changed. Salaries went up and it was kind of like hey, let's throw some more money at this and you guys shut up. But so I'm going to read off this list of quote unquote demands, and I want you guys to tell me if these seem reasonable. Number 1, they want the head of the financial institutions group, which is the group that this man worked for, in the Americas to be immediately fired. Okay. Number 2, they want the financial institution group's America staffers, meaning the people that are like staffing the deals, and the COO also fired. Number 3, after investigation, any senior associate, VP, director, or managing director on that specific deal that allowed this to go on, fired. And then they go on to say they want new proactive policies put into place, a maximum hour cap of 100 hours per week for any single employee. If that cap is met in a given week, then the following week they should work no more than 60 hours. On a monthly basis, no junior should average more than 80 hours a week. All juniors should get a minimum 1 weekend off a month and no more than 2 Saturdays in a month. And then they also call for like an immediate town hall. What are your thoughts on these demands? We'll start with the working conditions piece. The maximum 100 hours a week. If you hit that, can't work more than 60 hours the following week. Average 80 hours per week in the full month, and a minimum 1 weekend off a month. What do we think?
Well, I think also just being informed from discussions I've had with you about that industry offline, when you talk about the 100+ hour weeks, that's never like advertised and that's not what you're signing up for. But I think I think I've always thought investment banking has a lot of similarities like real estate, but it's like, the expectation is when there's deals going on and potentially multiple deals at the same time, it's like you kind of just have to do whatever needs to be done to get them to the closing table.
Exactly.
And then, you might really, really overextend yourself for a period, but then, could be crickets for a week after that.
Right.
And,
sure.
So, I don't think that, I think, the companies are not, not expecting you to work that hard all the time, but there probably is an expectation that you're going to work that hard when there is important work to be done, right?
Absolutely. I do think, just starting the conversation with we want an absolute maximum cap of 100 hours a week
That's insane.
is an insane place to start the conversation, And I mean, I think those expectations are reasonable, like 1 weekend off a month. I mean, you guys have seen me whenever I was in it. Like, you guys would come to visit and I would literally be on my laptop at brunch or, by the pool or whatever.
It was sickening.
Yeah. And you guys hated it. You would hate it. But I don't know. Because Maddox, you are right. When it's like deal time and crunch mode, like, it's got to get done. I would say for a junior banker, the one main difference is like, yes, people do always say that it ebbs and flows. However, if you have a bad staffer, and they don't take into account like the deals that you're working on, you could have one end or close, and then they just immediately staff you on the next one without thinking about it, and then you're in a bad place again, and it's tough. It's tough. I want to go back to the first three. The immediate firing of the head of the financial institutions group, the staffer and the COO, and any senior associate VP, director, MD on the specific deal. I am the biggest advocate for work-life balance, especially in investment banking. I think when you start your list of demands with firing, upwards of 15 people, I think you're losing your audience a little bit. I mean, just to be brutally honest, you can't start your demands with saying, "Oh, fire everyone top down," that allowed this to happen.
Especially when it seems like it's not that they necessarily did anything. Well, I mean, they did do something wrong, but it's more of like an industry-wide issue than a company-specific issue.
Yeah, totally. It's 1,000% a culture thing.
Yeah, it feels. I mean, I was gonna say this kind of feels like well, I'm not gonna make the comparison just because YouTube might not like it, but like, I mean, it feels like if you're just gonna like cut all these people in one place, like, fine, I can see the argument for like, yeah, they were fostering that kind of culture to create that kind of environment. I can see all that argument, but I feel like if they're not going to be at Bank of America, I mean, they're just going to go somewhere else. I mean, somebody could clearly make use of the talent of the person who's the head of the financial group of Bank of America, right? So
completely.
I care more about like the actual structure, like the guide rails. I would care more about like the working conditions of like, is there a way to like even
within the entire industry,
level,
right?
Yeah.
Or
can you set better guardrails?
And just think the people you're going to bring in, they're also sort of being raised in this same industry.
Exactly.
This sort of thing doesn't just happen at Bank of America. It happens everywhere.
Exactly.
I think blaming specific people, I mean, I have no problem with firing executives. I'd fire executives all day if I was a dictator. But, I think the issues are more systemic than they are a few bad apples.
100%. And I think you hit on a really good note there is like these people are being raised through the ranks with this notion in mind already, right? Like, I think a really telling thing is they called for this like walkout of no junior banker should do any work until these demands are met and it's addressed, and nothing happened. No junior banker refused to work and anything. And what the article cited was that because they were in fear of retribution.
Right.
So
who would do that?
Yeah. And so that in itself shows like that is the culture, not only at Bank of America, in the industry. I felt it, and I worked for a great bank. Like, the fear of you're going to get in trouble, you're going to lose your job, you're going to get fired if you don't do exactly as you're told. So you just put your head down and you do as you're told. You don't ask questions, you don't do anything, you just do it. And then, look at me. I lasted 12 months on the dot and then I quit. That is most MBA grads into investment banking. The people that stay are the ones that started as an analyst, started directly out of undergrad, and then they are, for lack of a better term, quote unquote, groomed for 10 plus years, make managing director, and all they have ever known is this lifestyle, and good for them that they can make it work. But when that's all you know and that's the type of person that it takes to be successful in this industry, of course you're going to have this type of culture.
Yeah. Got to pull it out by the weeds. Can't just cut the top of the grass.
Exactly. So, very, very tragic incident here, but I want to talk about it because.
Well, I was going to say, like, can you imagine, like, you talk about, like, fatigue, like a Green Beret got so fatigued, like, you're talking about somebody who was, like, at combat preparedness. I mean, I don't know when he was a Green Beret, but at some point his body could physically handle that.
So, according to the article, he was a Green Beret / in the Special Forces for a decade prior to going to MBA and then coming here. So
maybe the investment banking side of things is a little too extreme right now.
Yeah, totally. And on that last point of this happened a couple years ago at Goldman Sachs, and they just shoved more money at it. Let's not just do that again. Let's actually have a conversation about this, because at the end of the day, like, no amount of money is worth someone's life. So that's all I have to say on that. Let's pick up on a little bit of a lighter note. Are you guys familiar with the YouTube channel Dude Perfect? They do trick shots and cool videos, right?
Yeah.
They just secured a $100 million investment from Highmount Capital, a private equity firm. They said that their revenue is up from 20 million in 21, 25 million in 22, projected for 50 million in 2024. Okay. And this is to go further than YouTube, go into traditional media like TV, potentially movies. They've got 60 million subs on YouTube right now. And this is kind of like a larger cultural shift by PE firms and digital media firms to acquire more social media brands, quote unquote. Obviously, like Dude Perfect has been around for like over a decade, but here's another interesting one. This is like the second most notorious acquisition behind, I guess, in 2021, Coco Melon. You guys are Maddox. You have a nephew. You're familiar with Coco Melon.
Mm-hmm.
Was acquired by Blackstone for $3 billion. And I just got to know. Obviously, this is going to be us one day. But
sure,
what would we do? One, what would you do with this kind of money? I want a round table here. What would we do with this kind of money? And what would be our headlining show idea? Because it can't be a podcast. We gotta have a show.
So, $100 million split 4 ways.
Yeah, sure.
But it's an investment.
Fuck you guys. I'm out.
No, it's an investment into the podcast.
Yes. Oh. Ideally,
it's not like where just everyone gets 25 million a piece and do whatever.
Well, it sounds like that's what Jared wants to do. Jared wants to take his 25 and call it.
You guys can split the rest of the proceeds. Okay, you can have my 25% to be shared equally amongst you. All of you can get 33% of the remaining proceeds. I'm out of here. I'm going to buy a house in Mexico City. Screw you guys.
What are you taking with you? Like $5 million?
Me and my $25 million. What are you talking about? I have $25 million.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Ignore the money part then. What would be our headlining show? What kind of show are we making with a $25 million budget?
League of Legends tournament run.
Ooh. We could throw the biggest esports League of Legends tournament of all time.
That's true.
Well, that could be second after Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
You think they spent more than 25 million? No way. No way.
It is Saudi Arabia. Like, year-long tournament, anybody who enters has a shot, but it's one round. Like, that's it. It's first to 5, or like best out of 5. Anybody, like, I mean, obviously, like the professional style? Teams. Huh?
Like tournament style? Like
NCAA tournament style.
Teams.
Yep. And obviously, like most of like the professional teams are going to be at the top, and you just like combine the elos of people like below. So the professional teams are going to have the best chance. Year-long tournament, knockout style. We ended in South Korea like they usually do.
Can I propose a suggestion? In addition, if you lose, you die in real life.
No, that's a lot of people that are going to die.
Well,
like sort of online.
It's a lot of talent.
What's that Netflix show that they just did with the 400-something people? Squid Games, yeah. Squid Games. It's Korean.
Yeah. Oh, if you lose, you have to subscribe to the pod.
Ooh, I like that. Automatic 256 subscribers. That's not a lot. I'm not gonna lie. That's not,
No.
Not a lot of people
per person. No. Per
Times
person.
5.
No, like I'm not saying it's just like a multiple of 2, but anybody can.
So this is a
enter.
global tournament.
Global tournament. Any group of 5.
I like this. We should do this.
Who's better than like a level like what 10 or 15 or 20 or 20, whatever the ranked like level is.
Yeah.
Anybody, any group of 5 can enter, and it's like it could be like thousands, and like literally it could take years. Screw it, it could take years, but we're just going all the way. Anybody has a chance to get like, I don't know, $5 million, $1 million for each person.
All right, so Jared's obviously crazy. Moving on to the next idea. Maddox Jackson,
like my idea.
what is your dream show idea that we would make with $25 million?
Actually, you know, there's a genre of YouTube video that a lot of people in my real life, a lot of people I know in real life have been telling me they are interested in, and that is like home building, a home fixer-upper, HGTV style videos.
And that's what you would want to do?
Well, I don't know if that's what I would want to do, but I think $25 million, that's certainly a large amount of capital to sort of, and that's probably the biggest barrier into getting into that sort of, into doing that. I'm sort of just strictly looking at numbers and like opportunities. I think that's a very popular sort of video format. It needs a lot of capital to sort of make the underlying purchases, which an investment of $25 million would do.
True.
That's my idea. And I think
I like it.
You know, we can have Maddox sell us the house or sell the houses for us.
Oh yeah.
You know, we have some
I got you guys.
expertise.
We could make like
it would give us a competitive advantage.
We could make like a Selling Sunset on Netflix, but we could call it like Selling Knoxville, or I mean that's a terrible name, but you get the point.
Yeah.
So I was going to propose that we take like 95 million of this and just invest it in index funds as 9 degrees to entity, and then we can work with the 5 million to make our big. With our, I mean, you really
For the
need
League of Legends.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
like-
it's an acquisition from a private equity firm. They want more than market returns.
But that's the point. You're going to give them market returns plus whatever we do with the 5 million.
I don't think they'd be very.
But also,
happy
I
with
like
that.
Jackson's idea because we'd be buying properties too. It's like it's like some.
That's
but
true.
It could be we could turn investing the capital into the show somehow.
So you want to go down this
could
finance route?
We could or the real estate.
We could do
route.
we could do our option series again, Maddox,
Nah.
with someone else's money.
No.
No, damn.
But it'd be
Okay.
fun if we like each got 25 million to like manage, and then we made the content around that. See
Okay,
who can grow it the
okay.
best. Although
I
guess
we would just lose all
at
the
that
money.
at that point,
Yeah.
why are they not just hiring
Doing it
hedge
themselves?
fund managers instead
Yeah,
of?
they're a private equity firm. Why are
Okay.
they not just managing their own money?
I don't know. I'd have to think. I will say I had in terms of content that took a lot of upfront capital to produce. I really enjoy the majority of Mr. Beast videos, but I really enjoyed the Squid Games one that he did. I felt like that was just like, I don't know, taking something like that like a lot of people already appreciate and then like making it like
Real.
making it like a reality. I think that's like
I
really
would have
cool.
thought you would have wanted to do like some Top Gear spin-off, you know.
See, I don't know. We're going into we're getting into like I don't really know much about these things, you know. Like it'd be
Fair.
you know.
I was gonna say Top Gear spinoff would be a lot of fun just to go. I mean, but it could be a Top Gear spinoff of like it's a bunch of idiots.
We could
have
host
no
like
idea.
a crazy like with the League of Legends. We could do like a crazy like race or something. Like people
Ooh, okay.
like a racing tournament where
Yeah.
I want to do a, and I think this is actually legitimately reasonable in our future if we got 25 mil, an Anthony Bourdain-esque travel food show.
yeah, that'd be sick.
And I think we could all go. You guys see that trend on YouTube where it's like $1 hotel versus like $1 million hotel or whatever?
Yeah.
You mean
Yeah,
the
I see,
trend?
like, the
Mr.
burning-
Beast
Mr. Beast videos?
Yeah.
Wait, did Mr. Beast start that?
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure. Is it not
oops.
just
that's
Mr.
a lot
Beast?
of what he does.
A lot of
I
people
don't
do
have any
that
other channel
trend
that does
now,
it.
but I follow
I've
one
seen,
called
like-
Beta Squad. They're like these English dudes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've seen like $1 versus like $100 burger.
Yeah,
or something like that.
exactly. Yeah, no, that'd be a lot of fun. So all that to say, sponsor us, High Stone Capital. What was it called? High Key
Actually-
Capital, Blackstone, whatever. Give us $3 billion from Coco
Yeah.
Melon.
Don't give me anything, because I'm gone. If you give me money, if you give me more than like $1 million, I'm out of here.
We'll have to write it in the contract where you're
Yeah,
stuck
where
with
you
us.
can't, you have to stay.
But
I agree.
Before we move on, I want to this is just so interesting to me. I just feel like this is showcasing how much our world is like changing. Where this is literally some dudes screwing around on YouTube. Not dudes trying to make a legitimate business or anything. Or I mean, I don't know.
It is now, but I agree. Not when it started.
When they started.
That wasn't the intention. And this is a lot of money we're talking about.
And I mean, you guys are familiar with like Smosh, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Smosh was owned by some company a couple years back, and the parent company went bankrupt. And I don't know if you're familiar with like Rhett and Link, like they call themselves like the dads of the internet. Used to be engineers, went to North Carolina State for undergrad before starting their YouTube career. And then their channel, Good Mythical Morning, or I think it's just called like Mythical Entertainment, bought Smosh to like save them out of bankruptcy. And then literally this year, Smosh like raised the money themselves to buy themselves back, and are like an independent channel again.
Oh, that's cool.
Stuff like this is like happening all throughout the YouTube space, which is like really exciting,
Yeah, that's why part of why I'm like doing this, and why I honestly, I was off the grid for like many years of my life. I would say like I had social media accounts, but I didn't really get on them very much. But I don't know. I feel like I've accepted that. Like, look, there's these platforms that you can scale anything you're doing on much, much larger than whatever your geographical sphere of opportunity is. So
definitely.
Yeah. The world.
So watch out
changing.
for us in a decade when we have $100 million.
Exactly. All right, let's pay some bills. All right, we got And Collar, not an official sponsor, but this podcast is an affiliate of And Collar. And Collar is an affordable men's clothing company where products are sustainably made with the equivalent of 15 recycled plastic water bottles. Their shirts have 4-way stretch, are machine washable, liquid repellent, and wrinkle and stain resistant. You can go to andcollar.com right now and get 15% off using code Jerome in all caps. That's code Jerome, Jerome, for 15% off. Thanks, And Collar, for allowing us to make some commission. Also, if you guys haven't heard, we have a Discord channel. It is called The Classroom. If you want to join the conversation with us as things are happening, come and join the Discord. The link is in the description below. It's completely free. You can get our free advice. Maddox has been giving out housing tips in there, thoughts, commentary on current events, some things we've been talking about recently, the Drake and Kendrick beef going on. We haven't talked about it on an episode, probably never will, but talking about it in the Discord. So maybe, just maybe, this is Jackson's choice because he's the master of the Discord, but maybe the first 100 people will get a special badge or something as like early supporters of the podcast. And maybe, one day we'll do something special for you guys when we start bankrolling it. So thank you guys. Make sure to join the Discord. Maddox, what's up, man? Tell me what you got going on this week.
Oh, I got all kinds of good stuff this week. So, as of 3 days ago now, Roaring Kitty has emerged from the shadows.
Everybody loves a good Roaring Kitty.
If you don't know who Roaring Kitty is, you're living under a rock. But
GameStop
also,
hero.
The game, yes, he's the one that started the GameStop rally. There's a movie about him now, but since he went to court for all of the GameStop dilemma drama, and since 2021 he's pretty much gone silent, right? Hasn't really been on social media, hasn't been saying anything. Everyone just kind of assumed he took his gains from the whole GameStop trade and has just gone and lived his quiet life. But 3 days ago he tweeted a cryptic picture it's kind of hard to explain on audio, but basically it was like an image of a person kind of leaning back in their chair, texting on their phone, to a person like leaning up in their chair, like looking intently at their phone. And,
It's like the eyebrows up emoji almost.
Yeah.
Like
it was like, basically, I would interpret it as like, I'm paying attention now. Like, and from that tweet, he in the days following, he's just posted some video type memes, also kind of cryptic. But anyway, from that tweet, GameStop has gone up 250% from that tweet.
And guys, your boy Jerome bought some last night. Ooh. I'm just saying. I don't know if you know this, Robinhood.
After it already went up.
Shut up, Jackson. So apparently on Robinhood for specific stocks, you can like trade 24 hours now. And GameStop is one of them. And so last night I bought $400 worth of GameStop. Should we check and see what it's at today?
I was going to say, so for anybody, whenever this gets released, short GameStop now. Jerome is classically great.
Guys, it is Tuesday, May 14th at 8:36 p.m. My
Eastern.
$400 is currently worth $590.
Get out now, Jerome. Get out now.
It was up, or at close today, it's up 60% on the day still, and it was up much higher than that intraday. But
what do we think? Should we? I'll do whatever the majority here says. Should I just sell my positions right now, take my $200 gains, and walk?
I think so.
I agree. It's hard because it's like, prudently, I would just be like, yeah, just like whatever. That's some YOLO money. Just take it, move on. But, you could always hold out for the, like, really insane move,
Don't get me excited. This is how we keep losing money in options.
Go buy, I was going to say, go buy, what's like the positive one? Puts? No. Calls? I forget. Yeah.
So the problem is currently the way that the options contracts are trading, the stock price is substantially higher than all of the available contracts. So... It just is extremely expensive to buy into an options contract right now. It costs like $2,000 to $4,000 probably, which is not normal. It's not normal, but the options contract to purchase, because you have to buy in quantities of 100 or like in subsects of 100, and so it's cheaper to just buy the stock right now, which is not normal.
I say either get out now or double down. Like, put some real skin in the game. Get out now or double down.
Yeah, because like even if it 10x's from here, what are you making? $4,000?
So you're telling me to put 4,000 in so that I make $40,000?
No, that's why you should play the options though.
No,
because
I'm telling you to put 40,000 in to make $4 million. No, I don't know.
Jared gave you two choices. I think one of those choices is a good choice.
But you're not going to tell me which.
Well, it's not the buy 10. It's not the double down. So there you go.
All right, Jackson.
I think if you're not selling your position now, you're selling your position tomorrow, or you're selling your position the next day, and at some point it's going to become a loss. Yes.
All right, did it, boys.
Wow.
All right.
I'll take
Audio
$200.
Listeners, Jerome just sold it on camera.
Yeah. I sold my shares on cam.
Let's wait until somebody picks it up. But
yeah, the weird thing that it's been trading very strangely today, right, Maddox? It's like they keep halting it, like the SEC does, or I don't know what entity, but they keep halting
the exchange.
Oh, the exchange itself. Okay, so I don't know what's going on.
Well, the exchange halts it because of an SEC rule. Yeah, if it moves a certain percentage to the downside, I think only it halts trading for a period of time. I don't know the exact time, but
we just paid for the Power World server.
Oh, we did for the year. We just paid for this Power World server for the year. Which, speaking of, going back to our ads real quick, follow us on Instagram at 9 Degrees Pod. Maybe we'll post on there whenever we're going live on Twitch playing Power Worlds. We played for like an hour and a half yesterday. We're having fun. So come watch when we do that stuff. Sorry about that, Maddox. I'll throw it back to you.
Well, I wanted to just pose a deeper question, because this is happening more and more often. You know, people with influence tweeting and stock market moves following that. Like, do we think that this is like, is this gonna, obviously this is gonna happen more and more, but like, do we think this is problematic where people have so much power that they can influence the direction of stock prices?
I will hesitate to make a comment as to whether or not I think it's good or bad. I will say it feels like the same thing in a different era, right? Because like previously it was you had to be like in New York, in the know, to be on the floor, and like the guy with the most amount of money had the most play. Like there were always entities or people or individuals who could sway the market to their liking. It's always been kind of an insider's game. So
Bernie Madoff.
But
yeah,
Our friend,
I'd make
Jared,
the distinction.
Jared's friend Jeff Epstein,
stop.
the financier.
Please stop. I
Oh, my
really
fault.
value my
My fault.
life.
I want to make a distinction because we have very like, you know, pretty developed insider trading type laws, but this seems like kind of different because he's not an insider. He does, you know, he's just a dude on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, so what I was gonna say is the thing that I think has improved.
And also, he doesn't necessarily have the capital to move markets. Where
Right. So I think where it's improved from wherever it was, whether that was horrible, bad, good, whatever, is now more people, like the market is getting moved more on merit than it maybe ever has when it comes to like influence. Like the people who are influencing it are more, you have a better idea of the merit of their argument. Like you can go look at Roaring Kitty's like portfolio over the years, and you can figure out whether or not you align with like what like he believes in. You could have never done that 100 years ago.
So there's more transparency is I think what you're arguing. But to my you know, you use the word merit, and I feel like
merit.
Well, okay, let's talk about. Can we get into some academic financial stuff? So you know, there's the efficient market hypothesis, right, which says that you know stocks are always reasonably priced at whatever price they're at. It's reflecting, you know, markets are reflecting, incorporating all the information into the price of that asset.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally feel like we're going like further away from efficient markets with the introduction of social media, and you know, where people are communicating more, and you know, data is more available and more quickly available. If you would think that pricing of assets would be, you know, get more efficient based off all of that because everyone has more information, everyone is communicating more, everyone has, you know, access to information more quickly. It feels like we're going like in a different direction. And another, you know, financial theory is, you know, behavioral market theory, I guess, which is basically just a bunch of behavioral explanations as to why stocks are not priced appropriately many times. The lead one, or like the most intuitive one, is like the herd effect, where it's just like people are just piling into this thing as sheep, not actually doing, you know, not actually, like, honestly, quite frankly, Jerome, you know, why did you buy the stock?
Hey,
you bought the stock because you assumed everyone else is going to buy the stock, not because you thought it was a good investment.
Correct, 100%. Because Roaring Kitty told me to, and look at me, I made $200, and I've never made $200 in using the efficient market theory. So,
There you go.
So I understand your point. I do, however, like, should there be regulation? I don't know. I do think we're going to see more and more of this as there's more influence by the layperson. What I would say, though, is I think this does a reasonably good job at leveling the playing field for the average investor versus an institutional investor, right? Like, historically, institutions have the power to move markets. They have the power to literally do whatever they want. And whether the general public knows it or not, let's be honest, institutions have the power to set the prices of stocks. Certain institutions that have the capital to literally move markets, right? Whereas the commoner has never been able to. I think GameStop during COVID, as well as now, AMC is another good example. It's all just showing that when there is, call it, one point person that is able to guide a large group, while agree GameStop's not the best example because there's no like fundamentals around it, but it does prove that the common layperson's dollar can matter when grouped together in like an actual fundamentally sound investment. So does that change trading strategies for institutions and how they operate and how they invest in the market? I hope so. Does it make things more fair for the average person? I also hope so. So from that perspective, I think it could potentially be a good thing.
So I have potentially a two-part question for you, Maddox. I guess at like a high level, do you think the influence of, we'll call it less institutional users like Roy and Kitty, as like a great example, do you think these people who have like more influence are making like the day-to-day market more volatile?
Yeah, I think that because you have things like this. I mean, the magnitude of some of these moves are like relative to history, I think are pretty like impressive, So I would
agree.
say like, yeah, like you're getting more volatility, based on the kind of dynamics that the retail trader are trading on now. I mean, there's always been smaller stocks that can move a whole lot because people in chat rooms are like jumping in on them and whatnot, but it just seems like this is like getting really, really amplified and like GameStop isn't really like a small stock either, like it's a pretty big stock, and usually you see that type of being able to. And when Jerome's saying like institutions can move prices, I would say like, yeah, if you're talking about an institution with a lot of money like playing in a little stock, but like if we're talking about like massive assets, like
like
the
they're not
entire
moving an
stock
apple.
market or like gold or like it's like I don't know that any one institution really has the influence to move a market like that, but but I guess more. Well, do you have the follow up to that?
Yeah. So the first question being, do we think the market is more volatile at like a shorter term? Seems like the answer is like yes there. So the follow up question, to maybe try to get more into like the academic side of it, do you think short term volatility is overall healthier for the long term like market? Or like, do you think the short term volatility is healthier for the market over the long term? And the analogy that I'll make there is like 10,000 years ago, like if humans go to war, it was like 1,000 people here, 1,000 people there. It was happening all the time, but the relative like death count was nothing compared to like today if we went to like nuclear war. So there's less war today, but it has a higher magnitude of impact versus like if you had if it was going on all the time, but it had a smaller range, maybe it would be healthier like over the long term. So do you think like the increase in short-term volatility is more helpful for like long-term market growth with the kind of influence that we see with these kind of users who are less institutionalized than they've ever been?
I feel like I can't, I don't know if I can say if it would be like healthier or not. I feel like I mean, from one perspective, okay, if there's more volatility, there's more opportunities to, take advantage of mispricings, more extreme mispricings, which if you're a person that's trying to do that, that can be a good thing for you. But most people aren't trying to do that. Most people are just trying to pile as much money into their index fund as they can, in which case I would say that's probably not healthy, because then the volatility is going to make people that are trying to do that, it's going to make it more difficult for them because they're going to make bad decisions when things are, volatility is making the extremes larger. So, I don't know. I think those are like the major like pros and cons. I'm sure there's more if I really thought about it for a while, but
yeah, I want you to noodle on it. I think it's an interesting question.
I think more what I was trying to make an analogy to, like, if an insider at a company has information that's not public yet and they take a position in the stock before that information becomes public, and then that information moves the price, that's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So if Roaring Kitty or Elon Musk knows that they're about to tweet something that could move the market, and they take a position beforehand, that I don't know that is currently illegal. I think maybe like a case could be made, but I don't think it's very black and white. Like that's an illegal thing, because I mean, like, get on Twitter or stock Twitter or X or whatever. Like, people are tweeting about or posting about their positions all the time, or post about stocks all the time. And essentially what Roaring Kitty did initially, just he was really hyping up GameStop in his position. But I guess more of the question is, now with people that aren't insiders at a company or have access to proprietary information, they just have influence, and they know that them making statements about securities can influence the price. And if they happen to use that to their advantage to, make money in the markets, I don't know. That I don't know if that should be illegal, but it certainly seems like it's becoming more prevalent, and it also, seems somewhat problematic. But
yeah.
Anyway, we've lingered on this one a while, so we can move on.
I liked it.
Yeah. We'll see what GameStop happens. Maybe I'll invest again into it tomorrow. We'll see.
Double down.
Quickly lose my $200 that I just made.
Yeah, don't do that.
One other thing for the markets. Warren Buffett has sold Apple stock, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, that's Berkshire Hathaway's like by and far largest position. They've sold shares of it twice now, 2 quarters in a row. That's how frequently that institutions report their holdings. But they started selling the first quarter. They sold just like 1%, which is kind of, negligible. But the second quarter they sold 13%, which is getting to be a little bit more significant. So I don't know. There's discussion there about what is Buffett seeing? Is he seeing red flags in the market? Because
I would also wonder, is it that he's seeing red flags in the market, or is it more so that Apple has had really outstanding earnings the last 2 quarters and they're trying to capitalize on some of the gains?
Well, actually, their official statement was that it was like a tax move. They're trying to realize some tax gains, but I don't know. That's a little suspicious, in my view. And also, I don't know. I'm not like an expert on Warren Buffett, but I don't know if that's really like their style, like,
yeah,
they're value investors. So basically they're saying, if a stock is undervalued, we really like the stock. And, if it's overvalued, we don't like the stock. So for them to just be like, oh, like we'll take some profits here, whatever. It's like, no, it's either undervalued or it's overvalued. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're playing with a lot of money, so maybe they're going to slowly move in and out of their positions. But
I mean, 13% is pretty substantial. That's that's a lot.
We'll see.
Can institutions move markets?
Maybe.
Anyways.
I mean, yeah, maybe it also has something to do with like, the Fed saying they're not going to reduce rates this quarter and that type of stuff. I'm sure all these things are related, but
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, I'm currently bearish on stocks, and for those reasons, and I'm wondering if Buffett is also, are they seeing this? I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah,
we'll update you in the future. ChatGPT and AI.
Ooh, okay.
So several major U.S. newspapers have sued OpenAI. OpenAI is the company that created ChatGPT for copyright infringement. And, basically, I think the argument is these models are being trained on, just all kinds of text and media off the internet, probably often from, companies like newspapers. And so, now these newspapers are suing OpenAI because of it. I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
I like it.
Newspapers. Well, is it like the online archives of the newspapers? I'm assuming, right?
I don't know for sure. We're not gonna make any claims here that we haven't substantiated yet.
Let's assume they are. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that it's like OpenAI went into their archives and like took articles out. It's just like they kind of. I'm pretty sure they just scrape the entire internet, and then they train the model on that data. So there's going to be data. There's going to be data in that model that is copyrighted, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this lawsuit. I think AI is we're in this this precipice of we got to figure out how we use AI, right? And I think AI does a really great job of making some tasks easier. There was an announcement yesterday with a bunch of new features for ChatGPT and language translation, real time and stuff like that. And I think all that's great. And I don't necessarily have a problem with people using it in creative spaces, especially if it's to supplement your work. I do personally have an issue with AI just creating its own work or creative work. For example, this newspaper example, right? If I am just looking up an article or I want to ask ChatGPT, hey, give me a summary of this, and it spits out something that is copyright by a newspaper, I don't care because that's not getting published anywhere. I just want the information. And I think that should be fine. But if it is going out to, if ChatGPT is writing an article or writing a blog post or creating some sort of content that me as a user is then going to post as my own, then yeah, obviously that's copyright infringement, and I think there should be rules against that. I don't know how we implement those rules. I don't know how you remove this from the data set that it's being trained on. But yeah, I think we as a society are in the process of figuring that out. And lawsuits like this need to happen so we can figure out what's the boundary, what's the line we can't cross.
I think there is work being done on providing sources, where ChatGPT will give you this information and then provide you a list of sources as well along with it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because knowing how the models are trained, I don't really know how that works. But there also is a lot of features where ChatGPT is going and retrieving stuff from the internet, kind of basically how Google, searches, a search engine does. Anyway, yeah.
Well, I did have one kind of final comment or question maybe is what's the difference? So are we assuming ChatGPT basically isn't any form of art? Because what about what if an artist had some kind of creative piece that they constructed out of some content that was from a handful of different newspapers? I know a lot of times it comes down to the intent of the artist.
Yeah.
But how do we classify that within the sphere of ChatGPT?
Are you talking about visual art or
I'm talking about any
something?
kind of influence? It could be visual. It could also be writing. But it's
if it's
Ernest,
writing, then copyright is copyright, right?
Yeah, but Ernest Hemingway doesn't provide a references section when he talks about The Great Gatsby in The Sun Also Rises. I don't know if he actually talks about Great Gatsby, but this is just an example. I've read books where I've read Hemingway books where he's mentioned other authors, and then I've gone and read those authors.
But I mean, you would know this better than any of us. In your PhD dissertation, like you have to provide references for everything. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a simple solution that ChatGPT should be required to just provide references for where it got its information from. Personally, I don't think these newspapers would be happy with that result. I think they're more mad about the content being used to create new things as opposed to the actual like copyright infringement is my assumption.
Yeah, I almost feel like maybe they just saw like an opportunity here to, I don't know, like
they
potentially
don't
win a lawsuit, and so
maybe,
they like
maybe newspapers are dying. They saw this as a quick way to get some money.
Yeah, this is the GameStop equivalent.
There's also I've noticed recently there's been a lot of push toward like how what you said, Jerome, I think is problematic, where people are just having ChatGPT do a task and then taking that and posting it out there as it, you know, and like on TikTok and probably other platforms, they're trying to like either encourage users to denote that their content is AI generated, or they're doing it automatically. And I think that's probably like a healthy thing. Like, all right,
yeah, for sure. But I mean, how do you denote that in text? It becomes hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the answer, and I don't. Yeah. And yeah, it's a. I don't know. We'll keep tabs on it.
It's just continuing to get better and better too, right?
Yeah. So again, OpenAI announced a new model yesterday called GPT-4o. O is for Omni. I think
such a stupid name, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they could have done better. The Omni is like it's like you know, it's a multifaceted model now. So it you know, while ChatGPT originally did just text, it all in one now does text, audio, and visual. So did any of you guys watch the press release or anything?
I did not, but I just saw clips of stuff from on Twitter.
It's pretty interesting, honestly. It definitely gives the movie Her vibes.
No. Really?
Oh,
like
yeah.
It's like sentient?
Well, it's you're interacting with it with your voice a lot more now. And they did have a voice to text feature before, but it's gotten a lot more improved, and it's pretty real time. So there's not a lot of pause in between, and like you can like interrupt it now, and it'll, you know, pause and it'll take in what you just said, and like it's very it seems to be pretty good, like just conversationally. And it also, with the visual features, they had a different model that you could upload pictures into, and it could kind of know what the picture was and do stuff with that. But now it'll interpret the visual in real time, so you could have it, you know, looking at your face and being like, how do I look today? And their example was like, do I look acceptable for this interview that I'm about to go to?
Interesting. Okay.
And it was like cracking jokes at him, like, and the dude had like a bucket hat on, and she was like, well, though, you would definitely stand out with that one. Like,
but I saw a lot of you know, people kind of stress testing this, and like my interpretation was this new model was making more mistakes than the old one.
That's interesting. I haven't dug into the new model, like the quality of the responses. I more just was, you know, watching the new kind of features. So I haven't looked, you know, I haven't spent much time looking into the quality of the model or anything.
I just thought it was interesting that they were rolling this out for free. At this point, like, what are paid users getting? Yeah, you know.
I think that I think that's probably in response to like Elon Musk a little bit. You know, him pushing them. You know,
because they were supposed to be a nonprofit originally.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I imagine they'll make if you know, if there's going to be a paid version, you know, they'll distinguish it somehow. I think it's right now it's API rates, and how many, they put limits on the free version, so you can only do 20 messages per hour or something. I don't know if that's right, don't quote me on that, but they cap it, and then potentially I would say the paid version could be like faster type thing. So that's how they could break it out. Also, I know that there's probably going to be there is already, but like I think a lot of software companies do the free for individual users and paid for business users type thing.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a potential way that they split it out. But yeah, it's cool. You guys should look into it. I mean, is it like world changing yet? No, but I mean, it definitely is. It's pretty impressive, I would say.
Small steps.
And in the presentation that they gave about it, I haven't tried it myself yet. So, and I think Google screwed this up pretty bad. They gave a presentation with their Bard AI showing it, and this was a while ago, but it was doing similar stuff to what this version of ChatGPT is doing. And a lot of it was, the way it was presented was pretty misleading. It wasn't actually like to that.
Oh, yeah. I saw this.
Yeah. So, Tesla. Got to touch on Tesla real quick.
Always have to.
Things are not looking good for Tesla. I don't know what the stock price is doing. Have we looked lately?
I have not, but I think it's rebounded. I think it's fine.
It's rebounded a little bit. But so they had some pretty significant layoffs, and then recently it was found that they basically I guess this is kind of intuitive, but they laid a bunch of people off, and then they also basically removed every single job posting that they had out there. So they're on a hiring freeze, I would say, as of now. And then on top of that, they sent out this email to a bunch of their different suppliers that I guess was leaked from one of them or something, but it showed that they were behind on some of their payment obligations. So yeah.
Jared, you watch Game of Thrones. Jackson, you too. What's the famous line about like paying off your debts or whatever?
Lannister.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys both stopped.
everyone knew it. Everyone knew it except you.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
Lannister always pays his debts. Elon Musk, not a Lannister. That's why his name is not Elon Lannister. In case you're wondering.
Not the Lannister phrase either. But anyways,
I think we're being a little tough on Elon Musk. Listen, I got to stand up for the internet trolls here.
No.
No. It's just the headline of this article was Tesla quietly took down all U.S. job postings, right? But it's like, if you guys are having layoffs, like obviously, like duh,
yeah, that's what I said,
like obviously, like let's relax a little bit. But just like us, we're trying to get clicks based off of Elon Musk. That the newspaper's got to do the same. The not meeting payment obligations, a little more problematic, I would think.
A little more serious.
Yeah, and that's just a legitimate question. I mean, do you think the layoffs and the hiring freeze, do you think that's like actually bad for their bottom line? I don't necessarily think it is. I think it's you could argue, and I mean, I'm sure that's why they're doing this. I think it's good for the company.
Yeah, I mean, it's
for the
probably to
line.
reduce cost, right?
Yeah.
And then they can always cite like macroeconomic headwinds and stuff, and just be like, "Oh, because of the economy, like we're doing this."
Right. Yeah. So you can't always look at this sort of thing and be like, "Oh, Tesla's doomed. Jump ship now."
I guarantee you the internet is still going to find a way to criticize us about this, even though we're saying like Elon Musk is in the right here. Also, like on the payment obligations thing, you could argue maybe they're trying to force longer times for their like accounts payable. Maybe they're trying to like swing that thing around a little bit, show their power, and be like, oh, we're not going to pay our things on time. We're going to spread our AP out. Increase our net working capital.
That sounds like some investment banker type shit right there.
Yeah. It is like it's a
shit.
legitimate like corporate finance strategy to collect on your receivables more quickly and then purposefully spread out your payables.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a sign of like a healthy company if you can increase your net
I'm
working capital.
I'm gonna pull that one on my my student loans.
There you go.
Yeah, or the landlord.
Exactly. I'm trying to increase my personal net working capital. That's funny.
So as much shit as we get about Elon Musk, I do feel like we actually hold a pretty good balance, because I think Jackson and I are more on the skeptical side, and you and Maddox are more on like the positive side.
Listen, I think we are very balanced and fair about Elon Musk particularly.
Whoa, don't say balanced and fair in the same sentence. We're gonna have copyright issues.
What?
Fair and balanced. That's Fox.
Okay,
You never
apologies.
see Fox News, bro? You
Come
watch
on.
Fox News?
Oh.
No.
That's like their
I
whole
mean,
tag.
I didn't know that one either.
I had no idea.
See, me
But
and Jackson again.
you guys are calling me pro Elon Musk. I just brought 2 articles that were.
I think Maddox
very
is actually
negative
pretty
about-
negative. Well,
Yeah.
no, Maddox understands the game. That's what he is.
Yes.
He's a homie. He understands the game.
Also,
Negativity sells.
But my point about Elon Musk has always just been that not that he's like some god that needs to be worshipped, but just that
Right.
he's a net everything he's done is summed out to be a net positive for society. That's my only point. I think
that's where I say like I think
it's a
you and
bigger
Jerome-
picture type thing for me than like a detailed like.
Yeah. And for me, I smell bullshit. It's just my.
I thought you were gonna say the
I smell a
roses.
little bullshit behind a lot of it. So, but that's why I think we're balanced. I think this is not. None of this is fair. None of this is balanced either. So that's not our tagline.
And yeah, I agree. We're about to make our money back from Elon based off of GameStop. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Moving into everybody's favorite segment of the week, the Reddit Roundup, which is our time to have a little bit of recess. We just got done with first period. You had Professor Jerome. We just got done with second period. You had Professor Maddox. And now it's time for recess. Reddit Roundup. I got one for you guys initially. And this one is, I think it may be the first like proper one that we've had off of Reddit like in a while. Not even in a while. Maybe our first one forever. Usually this is just our segment where we find things on social media. This one is actually from Reddit. It's a scenario. I'm going to read it to you guys, then I need some thoughts. Okay. My husband of 6 years is divorcing me because he discovered that our firstborn child is not his. A friend sold me out, and my husband demanded a paternity test, which came out negative. The child is 5 this year. Am I wrong to think my husband is overreacting? He loves this child and has been a good father from birth. Why is he letting a mere test change all of this? The child is still the same, intelligent, humble, loving, and cute. Why can't we pray about it and invite God into our house? I am so drained right now. Lady, invite God into your house? Maybe you shouldn't have invited that into your house. What are we talking about right now? All right, I need thoughts.
I don't think God has anything to do with any of this.
No, yeah.
The point about it's still the same child, yeah, I'm sure he's going to be, he's developed a relationship with this kid. He's going to be probably, I would imagine he would continue to be the father figure to this child that he already was.
Completely.
And if he decided to leave them both, I don't know if I'd blame him. I don't know if I don't know. It would be hard to be with the wife after that, I would think.
100%.
I think you could still maintain a good, healthy relationship with the child.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Like, we're just talking about divorce, right?
Yeah.
The thing that, most couples go through. Like,
Right.
It's like a coin flip in the U.S. Like,
right.
But,
Exactly.
does he have any legal sort of rights to,
It's a good question. Write him out
That's a great question.
Write him out of your will.
I actually think this brings up an interesting point, and I'm not like blaming this guy. It's also, but it's more of like, do you think that there are? And I don't want to agree with the mom here, but do you think too many people put too much of an emphasis on like biologicalness of their children?
Yes,
because
I think
a lot of people are very obsessed with like having their own kids, having biological kids. There's a lot of like children in need of adoption
For sure.
For
For sure. But I think you're conflating that question with this scenario. Because the only reason I say that is because, like, generally speaking, I completely agree with you. I think there's too much emphasis on biological children. However, I don't think this husband is leaving because the child is not biological. Maybe he is. I don't know the guy, but I don't think he's leaving because of the child. I think he's leaving because he has a shit wife.
Yeah, she
And
cheated on him.
She's a liar.
She cheated on him and lied to him for many, many years about something very important.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
I understand that, but I just thought that was something interesting to bring up in the context.
I agree, and I often think about this from like a reverse perspective, maybe, but like when people are, when you have family and you have like a family member that becomes like very, very toxic or problematic, and because they're family, you have to like try to save them or like have to tolerate them or whatever, where it's like I don't think that just because they're related to you, if they're like an objectively bad person, like you have to maintain any sort of like responsibility or that.
Mm-hmm. I think her being like, oh, because we're divorced, our child's gonna grow up unhappy, or we got 2 children of divorce on this podcast. You guys are great. Love you both.
I don't know. I'm still reeling from it. No, I'm kidding. To maybe be a voice for the more traditional, I don't think it's, while I can understand the idea that maybe people are maybe largely a little more fixated on like biological children, and there are a lot of kids who could like use a good home. There's a very obvious reason why people are fixated on biological children. You've like evolved that way. It's not, I don't think it's, while it's not maybe the most important thing for everybody to have biological kids, I do see, like, I have the urge to have biological kids, and I don't think it's it's not necessarily a crazy thing to have that urge.
It's certainly not going to go anywhere, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. And to the other side of my point is like, like you definitely can form a family around people that are not biologically related to you. And I think that's
I would say, if you're just doing biological family, your family's not big enough. You need a family of like way bigger than what biology can give you.
Lannister always pays his debts. Also, one thing that just came through my head, speaking of divorce, Maryville City Schools, the fact that they called their like divorce support group for the kids Banana Splits, insane.
If it had not been for Banana Splits, Jerome, I don't know that you and I would even be friends right now.
Why?
Well, okay.
We didn't meet in that.
No, but I met our close mutual friend that I feel like
we played soccer together.
Yeah,
we're fine.
The soccer thing happened outside of him, so
I think it was a good group. I think the name wild.
The ice cream smacked.
Whoa, you guys actually got ice cream?
Oh, every time, dude. That's banana split. Dude, we get a banana split.
We had divorced parents. Of course we did.
That's why we were all fat kids.
It was the least.
Oh God, that's so true. Oh my God, that's so funny. All right, we got another one. Maddox, I'm gonna let you run with this one. All that I have in my notes here is man has sex with car.
Oh,
that's all you need to know, baby. That's all you need to know.
What is going
on? Are any of you guys familiar with the show My Strange Addiction? Do you remember?
Yes.
I haven't watched it. Familiar with it is correct.
I don't know if it's still around, but it was on the TV back in the day. And I remember this one specifically, and it regurgitated itself. I don't know if that was the right word.
Gross.
It found its way into my Reddit feed, and I had to talk about it. So anyway, there's a man who has an intimate relationship with his car. It's a Chevy Monte Carlo, I think.
I don't know what that is.
It's red. It's a red. I can't remember what the year is. But
how old was it?
1998.
Was it at least 18?
98?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, it depends on when he started the relationship. I don't know.
26. Oh, yeah.
He started the relationship a while ago because, like I said, this was on TV when I was younger. But I remember seeing this, and this guy has intimate relationship with his car, like
What?
as if you or I would have a relationship with a significant other.
What?
Guys,
I mean, I have to ask the question. Where did he enter the car?
Okay.
Wait. This is the part I thought was the funniest. Did you find this too, Jerome?
I'm on the article. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I remember this, and it surfaced itself on my Reddit, and I clicked on this article, and I read through it, and down at the bottom, it says, well, I don't know if Jerome's looking at a different part. This is a part I thought was funny. But Nathaniel isn't the first person to attempt to have sex with a vehicle. Back in 2018, a drunk Kansas man was arrested after trying to put his genitals into the tailpipe of a parked car.
That's what I figured.
Cops had to subdue the perp with a stun gun after he refused to stop ramming the vehicle.
No. Oh my God. This is so funny. You guys have to read this article, New York Post. We'll link it in the description below. It starts off saying, unlike most people, this driver loves ramming his car.
Hate it.
I like to lean. Oh, also, I guess he has gendered the vehicle as a male and affectionately named him Chase, it says. I like to lean over his fender across the hood and kind of press up against him.
I don't need this. I really don't need
This is
the
so
narration
funny.
of
Okay,
this.
but so this was an older article, I think, but the post that I saw on Reddit was the car got in a wreck and it was totaled, and he was like devastated. He was,
Can imagine.
Crying and
It's the love of his life.
torn to pieces. But
Like his
another
car.
part of it was that eventually he decided to get back on the horse and start dating again. And
Cars?
yes,
Different cars?
Yes.
No!
And then the next car he got was I don't remember the name of it because it's just a bunch of model numbers, but it's the Lexus that our friend used to drive, the black
No.
Lexus. You guys remember that?
My
Oh
God.
my
It was that
God.
car. That's who he
Sexy
started his new
Lexi.
relationship with.
Apparently, this is saying that he suffers from a condition called objectophilia.
Yeah.
And
Self-explanatory.
it says apparently this is in the news again because there was a different person, a German woman named Sarah who went viral earlier this week after revealing she was sexually attracted to her toy Boeing 737 and was making plans to marry the model airplane. Oh my God. Guys, be serious for a second. We cannot be making fun of this.
Well, the article
What?
said suffers from objectophilia. Why is it not thriving from objectophilia?
True. Who says this
That's
man
true.
is suffering?
That's true. Oh my gosh. This is insane. That's all I
To
can say.
revisit it
This is
later.
insane. All right. Well, moving on. After that, I don't know how we move on past that. The next and last thing that we've got for Reddit Roundup this week, Jackson, you have a hypothetical about a man versus a bear.
Yeah. Okay. So this is something that I first caught on TikTok, and it's a couple weeks old at this point. But let me pose this question to everyone here. Let's say you were hiking alone in the woods. Would you rather come across a man or a bear?
And not in the same way as Nathaniel in the car, correct?
Correct. Yes. No.
Okay.
And also,
Okay.
it's
Encounter.
you don't know anything about them. It's just a random man or a random bear. Which would you choose?
And for clarification, so because he's random, like I don't know anything about him, I have an opportunity to like befriend the man.
Sure, or the opposite of that.
Okay. I mean, have you guys seen The Last of Us, the HBO Max series?
Yeah, and I played the game.
Yeah.
And okay, so Jackson, you'll understand. You know the one episode with oh man, what's the actor's name? But zombie apocalypse, he comes across a man that's like stuck in a hole, and then they become lovers.
Oh.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then they live together
Nick
until they die.
Offerman,
Thank you.
Nick Offerman, yes,
so-
correct.
and another guy whose name I don't know.
From that, because that is the only data point that I have, I think I would try to befriend the man. So I would like to come across the man. I would like to make him my friend, and then we just hike together. Hopefully, he's not a serial killer.
Mm.
I think the likelihood of me being able to befriend someone and hopefully they don't kill me is better than fighting a bear.
But you don't necessarily have to fight the bear, right? It's like it's just in the woods.
Oh, what, Maddox? It's Winnie the Pooh. It's gonna be friendly to me.
Wait. Is it? Are you just in the woods and there's a bear in the woods and you're also in the woods, or are you actually encountering the other thing?
We'll say encounter. Yeah, you encounter them.
I don't.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. There's not like the bear might not be aggressive. You might encounter it and the bear might be friendly or just run away because it's scared of you.
My instinct tells me man, but I also I've heard about this a little bit. I don't know if I know like the whole like situation, but I feel like
Jared, do you want to go out on a limb and choose the bear, Jared, or are you sticking with man?
I think I am gonna choose the bear because if it's a grizzly, you're just fucked. Like you're just dead. But if you meet a serial killer, you're also just dead.
Right.
There's no way you're getting away from that guy.
right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say also like, are you the last two people on Earth or something? Or
But also, though, if it's a serial killer, though, I have a chance. I could fight
No,
him.
you don't. No, you
How
don't.
do you know I can't fight him?
This man found you in the woods.
I trained boxing for 3 months.
Yeah, you're dead.
3 months.
You're dead, buddy.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Thank
I
you.
would say
Thank you.
the average bear is going to be pretty scary, right? But the extreme man is going to be horrifying.
Also, like this, like, I
it's
think
true.
everybody, when people think about bears, they're thinking about like polar bears and grizzly bears.
Yeah.
But like a black bear, like you don't
Teddy bear?
necessarily have to just die.
Ooh,
with a
what if
black
we
bear.
encounter a teddy bear? Ooh, I
See?
like this. I like this. I assume that's
All
not
right,
part of this thing.
So let me just pull this back. So the reason why this trend sort of took off is this trend was very popular among women, and
Yeah.
what they would do is men were surprised
Seduction.
when, say, like their partners or friends that they knew who were women would say, "Oh, I'd rather encounter the bear," and they'd be like, "What? That's ridiculous." But the idea is that women's experiences with random men just in life are so bad that they would take their chances with the bear.
Whoa, that's interesting. I like that.
Much
thought
deeper than you
process.
thought.
Much deeper than I thought. I had not thought about that. Wow, that's actually incredible.
So yeah, there you go.
I still, Jerome, think you die with the serial killer.
I know. I'm like,
I think we just need to be honest.
Would I rather just be like eaten by a bear, or would I rather be like
God damn it, gotta bleep
serial
that.
killer?
Holy
Oh,
shit,
sorry.
Maddox. Here's
Oh.
what I would do. Here's what I would do. I would probably, if they were an extreme person that I came across, I would just pretend that I am also crazy. Like I'd be like, yeah, let's be serial killers together.
they'd
No.
sniff you out a
No.
mile away.
No. No, you got to be honest with yourself,
What?
here, buddy. You really got to be honest with yourself.
I think I could do it if I was forced to. If he was like, let's cook up some human flesh and eat it, I
Nah, dog.
would force it.
No,
Oh,
there
for
is
survival?
Dude,
there is a level of crazy that I don't think you can get to that guy idles at.
Do we know
Like-
anyone that's like that? Give me an example.
No, I don't want to say names, but like I
You
I-
have
I
one in your
think-
head. I can tell.
yeah, I do.
You
I
go.
do have somebody in my head.
I need to know who that is because I got to stay
It's
away
you,
from
Maddox.
them.
It's you.
No, it's not you. And we've actually discussed you staying away from this person before.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting. All right, you're gonna have to tell
So-
us after we stop recording.
Yeah. But I would say like you have to be like you got to be capable of like eating that person crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's the level you got to get to.
Yeah. I mean,
I
fair.
just think let's be honest with ourselves. This is a civilized group.
No,
Nobody in
you're
here
right.
is eating anybody
You're
else.
right. I mean, I'm dead regardless of
Right.
who I meet, man or bear. I'm done skis.
There you go. See, honesty.
To wrap a bow on it, I've got one final thing I'd like to mention. Wendy's offering free 6-piece nuggets with purchase of any product every single Wednesday for the rest of the year. Just thought I'd throw that out there just for this group, plus anyone that's
Wait.
listening.
What? Hold on.
Yes, sir.
What?
Yes, sir. Wendy's. I'll say it again. Wendy's. Say
Say it one more
the
time.
restaurant.
Wendy's.
Wendy's. The restaurant with the Pippi Longstocking looking girl. She kind
Right.
of looks like Pippi Longstocking if Pippi Longstocking had a baby with Maddox, because the logo's head's kind of like squarish. You know what I'm saying?
Like a copyright appropriate
Right.
pay people
Right.
sucking. I don't think Maddox needs to catch strays in this conversation.
But with the purchase of anything, could be a drink, could be a side of fries, could be a burger, whatever, 6-piece nugget free.
But what they don't mention to you is that whatever you buy is dynamically priced.
And whenever they hand you the nuggets, they take you out back and introduce you to a strange man or a bear. You don't know which.
Right. You just gotta flip the coin.
Every single Wednesday for the rest of the year with the purchase of anything 6-piece chicken nugget.
So if I get like a little mini Frosty, that's like 99 cents.
Yes, sir. Free 6-piece nug.
Well, that actually, I don't ever go to Wendy's or really
Tomorrow's
get fast
Wednesday.
food,
I'm just saying. Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Oh, is it only on Wednesdays?
Only on Wednesdays.
I'm currently doing a juice cleanse, so maybe I can put it in a blender.
Ew.
That's disgusting. But
I guess. Oh, I have one final thing. Maybe we can do like recommendations. I don't know. But
Jesus.
Jackson and I were talking about this yesterday. Big recommendation from my last weekend. Go watch the movie Challengers. Phenomenal. Jackson, anything that you would add to that? It's just phenomenal. Soundtrack great.
It's not, if you watch promotions and like marketing for it, it's actually not anything like the marketing for it. It's much deeper than that.
Yeah. Phenomenal movie. Any Rex, Maddox, Jared?
I don't have a recommendation, but I just remembered something I wanted to talk about that was time sensitive.
Go ahead.
A hero of mine passed away this week or this weekend. Jim Simons, the founder of Renaissance Technologies, which is basically just a hedge fund, but not just any hedge fund, the best performing hedge fund ever in history. They've done like 60% annualized returns over the past 30 years. So he was a mathematician at Stony Brook. He was a professor there for a while, and he just he started a business and got into like trading markets, and everything they do is just purely like data, machine learning driven. Like they specifically do not hire people with finance backgrounds because they don't want any like conventional wisdom conflating their thinking. It's pure just like math, science, physics, coding, data, and it works incredibly well, and they make a ton of money. And he passed away. There's a great book about him. It's called The Man Who Solved the Markets. I would highly recommend it to anybody, even just
link in the description.
Even if you're not particularly finance minded, it's just a good read, and he's a very influential person in my view. He pushed definitely pushed conventional wisdom around how markets work and investing, that type of thing. So
well, thanks, Maddox, for bringing the vibes way down before we finish. Thank you guys for watching this episode. As always, if you want to interact with us, the professors talk about current events live and as they're happening, make sure to join the classroom, our Discord in the link below. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and to watch the video version of this podcast. Also, make sure you're subscribed or following the social channels, TikTok, Instagram, at 9 Degrees Pod. Thank you guys for watching this episode. Class is now dismissed.
Peace.